Welcome to Healers Talk Healing, the podcast where we gather to explore the art and science of holistic healing, uncovering the secrets to a happier, healthier you. I'm your host, Nina Ganguly, and together we will delve into the intriguing world of holistic healing, delving into the mind-body connection, ancient wisdom, and natural remedies. Get ready for enlightening stories, thought-provoking expert interviews, and practical tips that will empower you to unlock your true potential and embrace a vibrant, balanced life. Whether you're an experienced wellness enthusiast or simply curious about the power of healing, join us on this exhilarating journey as we share the wisdom and insights that can truly transform your life. It's time to embark on a voyage towards a happier, healthier you. So, without further ado, let's dive into the captivating world of Healers Talk Healing. And we're back. And of course, we already started talking about what we wanted to discuss today. And you might see my little mic go in and out because I know that there's been some issues with people being able to hear me. So I'm just going to have it here so you can see it. It might disappear. You know, Zoom does what Zoom does. That's what we use.
Yes.
But our conversation has already started. It was funny. It started like 2 or 3 days ago, actually, in a meeting. We were discussing what on earth we were going to be talking about today. And prior to that, we were talking about channeling and something that we'll be offering very shortly. And I'll keep that to myself, but
Well, you won't for too long.
Not for
You won't
too
be
long.
keeping it to yourself for too long because we'll be spreading the news to the world.
Aren't we always spreading some kind of news? But
That's true.
good news, not just some kind of news, good news. But we're talking about archangels. And I know there's so many people out there who have heard it, who have a certain context around archangels, who they are, what kind of entities they are, what they do, and how we connect with them. And so we thought, not me, we thought it would be a great conversation to have on Healers Talk Healing, because so many of us do connect to them for things that we are looking for in calming in spirit and that kind of thing. Sometimes I lose words, so I don't know other words to say.
No, it's okay.
It is and that kind of thing.
It is, but, yes, it is perfectly okay.
But so I'm going to the person that I go to when I have spiritual questions, which is, of course, Lynn. And Lynn, the question on my mind right now is like, who are or what are archangels, first of all?
Yes, good question. So I'll start with, there are 9 angel choirs, is what they're considered. We've often heard of the seraphim, which the seraphim are actually, and as I name them, they are groups of angels. So don't think singularly, think multiple. Okay. The seraphim are groups of angels that help to create heaven and earth. So they are, the bigwigs, with the bigwig being itself.
Okay.
And then there's the cherubim. And the cherubim actually are also part of the act of creation. And you go down the line, there are thrones, which are over governments and regions and things like that, and so on and so forth. And then you get to the archangels. Now, the archangels are messengers that work with humans. That's us.
Gotcha.
And there are also multiple archangels. I can name a few. And again, even when I name, for example, Michael is an archangel, and Michael is the archangel who's it's a question mark, because it is the archangel of what is love, question mark.
Mm.
because Michael is a warrior
Mm-hmm.
who basically fights for um, absolute divine love, and anything that interferes with that sense of divinity, he's ready to, go to battle for it. So
Mm.
that's why it's put in a question mark, who is of love. It's, yes, it is an act of love, even though he's a
Mm.
warrior.
That's a
Okay.
I know you're going to give us a whole bunch more, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm fascinated by that because I'm drawn myself to Archangel Michael and
Mm-hmm.
always was drawn to that warrior. It's just any connection I have to the spiritual world, they're always they're always warriors. So now, and it's funny, it just came to me as you were explaining this. But the reason why I'm saying something or commenting on this is I never understood that it came from protecting
Mm-hmm.
divine love.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's an aha moment for me in this conversation because for just in my experience, I've always not always, that's not the right word. Since I have awakened, I will say it that way. I understand and I know that love is the answer for anything and everything that we experience in life. And
Absolutely.
so now I'm like, oh, pew, 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 pew. They're all like pew, pew, pewing, right? Because I started to wonder, huh, why is it that I'm so drawn to warriors? Like in all the different realms, like there's Archangel Michael. I'm very drawn to Goddess Kali. She's also a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And Athena and all of the like on the warrior realm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm commenting so that people can get that there is a reason we are drawn to certain sources of light.
Sources and deities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
thank you for that because that brought so much clarity to me in this moment.
Yes, yes. And being a warrior doesn't mean violence and um, um, destruction and devastation and all the things we think of in terms of being a warrior. It can sometimes look that way,
Mm,
seem or feel that way, in order to break the armor that surrounds or wants to surround absolute divine love.
mm,
So if it's trying to snuff it out, smother it, contain it, that sort of thing, warriors go into action so that it can be expanded, right? Okay.
yeah.
So that's Michael.
Thank you.
Uh, and then there's Gabriel.
Mm,
Gabriel is the messenger who speaks directly to humans, whatever it is that they need to know or hear, whatever messages the divine may have for that person. Gabriel is that messenger. There's Uriel. Uriel is the angel of knowledge and wisdom.
mm,
And so when we think about or consider how we want to move forward in life, what are the right moves to make? What are the right choices? How can we learn from our past experiences in order to move forward in a way that continues our ascension or elevation, not only of spirit, but to reach our goals?
mm,
Okay. And then there's Raphael. Raphael is the angel of healing and all things that bring about healing. So when we also think about the medical profession on the planet, and we think about healers like our healing practitioners, Raphael is imparting that information and that awareness and that knowledge and what to do to heal. What are the right herbs? What are the right plants? What is the right constitution of a particular type of medication? What is the right way and science to put together something like an MRI machine to,
mm,
take a look? All of that would be governed by Raphael. Okay. And those are the four that are most known. Now, there's also Metatron. And Metatron is considered the highest angel who basically disseminates information between God and humans,
Mm.
and God and some other angels. Okay. So he's considered, like the big gun, but not necessarily any more important than the other angels. So those are the most popular angels that most people know about.
Okay.
And just so I'm going to put this into context, the angelic realm are definitely high spiritual beings that appear in many different ways.
Mm.
Okay. So are all of the other deities, such as the ones that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and many others based on what one's spiritual slash religious focus is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there are many names for many of these deities, many of these entities. And I am going to just make a quick comment that may blow people's minds, and you may go, no, that's not true. But I'm going to say it anyway. And that is, when you think about them, they are ethereal beings. They are beings that are in this world on a dimensional level, even though we may not always see them, hear them, feel them the way we do human beings, even though the
Mm-hmm.
interaction is not the same as we have with each other for those of us spiritual beings in flesh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, they all are beings, but because they are not in flesh as humans, they are aliens.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a connotation in terms of what aliens are and what they're
Yeah.
supposed to look like. And they have all these different bodies and, different forms.
Mm-hmm.
And here I will reference, because I did just see Project Hail Mary, which was a wonderful movie. The book, I understand, is incredible. For those of
Mm-hmm.
you that are real science geeks, you should read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they touch upon it in the movie, but the book is incredible. Okay, so all of that being said, when we speak with angels, when we hear angels, and those are the deities or the aliens, whatever you want to call them, that I work with and I've been working with, because that's my orientation.
Mm.
Um, they also have bodies, but their bodies take on a lot of different forms. Sometimes they appear as a sphere.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Sometimes they appear as the way that our physical bodies are, but shrouded in so much gorgeous and divine and effervescent light
Mm-hmm.
that you can kind of make out the silhouette of, something that looks very human. Okay. Um, and sometimes they do take on the form of someone who looks very human, very specifically.
Okay.
It's whatever a person is comfortable with.
Mm.
Because the one thing they will not do is they're not going to creep up on people and reveal themselves in a way that would be frightening.
Mm.
They don't do that. They are beings that directly communicate with us. And when we communicate with somebody, even on a level of human to human, we're not going to walk up to somebody with, looking crazy and having some kind of weird mask on and that we know would scare somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to communicate with them, if we want them to run away, sure. But you know, if that's
True.
not your aim or your goal, you're not going to do that, right? So they wouldn't do that either. And um, they are really just benevolent beings that are here to serve us. And I just love them because, of course, I've experienced angels for as long as I can remember as a little girl. Um, and they've taught me a lot. They've shared a lot with me. They've taught me a lot, even before much of what people have moved into during the late 1900s and up through current day. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of that I had already received and heard and understood and was utilizing in my practices because I got it all from the angels. They've broken down everything for me. Back in like 1978, they started breaking down a lot of things that people didn't really have the deepest awareness of.
Okay.
So they're always there talking to us. They're always there to lead us and guide us. They're always there to say, yes, that's the right step. Yep, you need to do this and this. And they're also there to go, danger, danger.
So now that you're saying this, because of course I know I'm saying it in my mind. I'm sure our listeners are saying is okay. They're always there. They're always around. Um, but how do we know and how do we discern? I think that's how do you discern or distinguish between our own conscious thought, our own thinking, and that which is being divinely guided?
That's a very good question. And the straight and forward answer is you can discern when you are in a place of meditation.
Hmm.
When you when you are in a place of knowing your voice versus a different voice.
Hmm.
So what that means is you know how you think about things. You know languaging. And when I say languaging, verbiage. You know
Mm-hmm.
the kind of verbiage that you utilize quite often. You know the sound of your own voice. You know the uh, essence of who you are. And as you tap into all of those aspects of yourself, you're like, okay, well, this is me. When an angel speaks with you, it's in a demeanor or a voice or an essence or some distinguishing way that's different from you saying something to yourself,
Okay.
from you having thoughts that you may have the way that you do. And that's really how you can start discerning. But the reason I say meditation, at least in the form of meditation, I should clarify, in the form of meditation that I have been teaching for 40 years, it helps people to really open their intuition, not only audibly, but also sight, the third eye.
Okay.
And so you learn to see, and you can really move into that place of this is the angels that work with you, at least, this is what they look like. This is who they are. This is the way they share the messages. This is the essence that I am experiencing in this full joyfulness, or this full divine love, or this full absolute peace. And that's why I said meditation to begin with. And that's a form of meditation where there is nothing else going on. You're not meditating while you're exercising. You're not meditating while you're walking. You're not meditating and listening to music. You're not meditating
Mm.
and in the act of something else.
Mm.
You are meditating in absolute being still, being as quiet as you can be. But yes, it is a process to move into no longer having all of the thoughts and the stuff going on. It's a practice to move into clearing away the noise, the chatter, the stuff in monkey mind. It's also clearing away super focus.
Hmm.
It is simply being. It is a place where it seems as if nothing exists, and then there is everything that exists. And it's being in tune with that. So I'm not saying that you have to go through all of that, for years before you get to the point of talking with, seeing, and connecting with your angels, because they'll connect with you. Sometimes they're like, hello, I have something to say, or hey, or sometimes I just want to talk to you. Can you hear me? So, they come in different ways, and they'll try to get through to you in different ways. But when you practice even 15, 20 minutes a day to be perfectly still, there you will start to really connect with them, and you'll immediately know when they're around you. If it's not them that you're experiencing, it's something else. And if that something else makes you feel uncomfortable and it's like, oof, you don't even have to just bye, leave, go.
Mm,
Okay.
that's I was going to say that's perfect, but it's beyond that, because I think it's important to understand that you can say, nope, I'm not vibing with whatever's going on right now. You get to
Mhm.
leave, because as we know, words and thoughts are powerful, and
Mhm.
they're like, I've heard this saying, they're like spells. Anything you say creates and destroys
Yes.
what there is to do. The reason I'm saying this is, along my journey, I met this gentleman, and as I was awakening, it was through a Christian lens, because that's what I grew up in, and so it helped guide my where I am today.
Mhm.
So he would say to me, if there's something that you are not agreeing with that's happening in your life, and you are feeling like it's forces outside of yourself, you can literally say, get out. Like, get
Mhm.
out. You don't have space here. This place is not for you. You can
Mhm.
get out. And at the
Mhm.
same time, the same way, I can invite Archangel
Mhm.
Michael in. I can invite Raphael. I can invite and have a conversation. And
Mhm.
for me, how you were saying you can distinguish between your voice and their voice.
Mhm.
For me, it's not necessarily a voice, because it's more a feeling. It's more like, well, I've never thought like this before, because it still sounds like me or my essence.
Mhm.
But what I've noticed is, I'm like, well, where did that thought come from? I have no connection to that.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I didn't learn that. I didn't, like, my humanness, my logic tries to kick in, begins to kick in and say, wait a minute, how did, how did I know that? Why am I doing this? Why am I being led this way? Recently I've just started the automatic writing when I connect to my spirit team, because
Mhm.
it's helping me a lot. I've used oracle cards. For me anyways, I need something other than just my own voice.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I use those to guide. And I went back and read one of my automatic writings, and I was like, yeah, that wasn't me. It was, you think
And
it's
that's
you.
the channeling aspect.
Yeah.
That's the
And
channeling aspect.
it's
Mhm.
it's very it's interesting, because I know we all have, like, everyone has access. And I love that you
Absolutely.
spoke about, and you talked about the access. We can say archangels.
Mhm.
Somebody might say something else, but
Mhm.
however that essence shows up and works for you and each individual, based on our human experience. Because I also recently learned, it's like, there we say entity and we say essence, but it's like a consciousness. So there's kind of
Each one is
like
yes,
an
is
alien
have a
consciousness,
consciousness.
uh, uh, like an angelic consciousness. there's, you know, a divine consciousness. There's different ways for them to connect with you, or for you to connect with them.
Mhm.
There's But there's something interesting you also said. There's so many thoughts going in my mind about what you just shared. So you're getting my verbal diarrhea as I'm processing it, and hopefully helping others to get that there it's a process that happens, which is the sitting in the quiet. For
Mhm.
the longest time, like, and I'll share, I am in the midst of going through your teaching. So just FYI, side plug, Lynn does have the teachings on this meditation. And if you want to know more about it, you need to connect with us so we can let you know. It's through our membership, but let's put that on the side for a second. I have struggled with having nothing in the background. Like,
Most people do.
right?
It's practice. Yes.
Because I'm used to having music and I love the music. I feel like the music helps me get into, I guess that's just the way
Mhm.
I'm looking at it. It helps me get into a state of relaxation and I feel more open. But what I'm hearing and learning inside of that, that's still a bit of a distraction. There's still
It it
something kind
it
of in the
is.
way.
It is. Being still really means to be in the void,
Mm,
because in that void there's nothing to experience except true self. And as energy comes up, like thoughts and feelings, and you just said, you know, the music helps you feel, well, that's wonderful. And that does put us in a particular feeling or a mood. But if you eliminate even that feeling, and you eliminate any other of the five senses in a way, okay, you move into this wonderful space where your guides, and I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to everyone here, because
hmm
everyone has different guides that they
hmm
turn to and they're comfortable with.
hmm
Then your guides are able to speak to you more easily and effortlessly. At the same time, don't be alarmed if they don't show up in a meditation. If you're meditating every day or several times a day, they don't always show up. And it's okay, because you just need to be in your own stillness and quietness. When I learned this meditation, what my teacher told me was, we live in California. And you're from Southern California, if there's a massive earthquake and there's nothing happening in terms of, you know, beautiful music, or again jogging or whatever, he said, and there's nothing but chaos around, can you move into that space where nothing
mm,
outside of you has any effect upon you being in your center and just being? And from that place, you receive messages and you know what to do. And as you just said so well, thoughts come into your mind, or a compulsion comes up that, oh, I have to do this. Oh, wait, where did that thought come from? That's something I'm not even ever connected to or related with.
hmm
That's when you're able to receive. And it's easier to receive when you can learn how to shut out everything else. Doesn't mean you're not aware. You can be in deep meditation and you know exactly when someone enters the room, because you notice the energy shift that's outside of you, but it doesn't have an effect upon you.
mm,
And
mm,
if there's something you need to do with that, you will receive in that state of you're just being still, that you need to address whatever the energy is or not. And that energy could be another human being entering the room. That could be another interdimensional being that's coming forward. But you'll know how to respond if you need to respond to that.
yeah, that's
So when I say meditation, it's
mhm,
not the meditation that most people do to get into great feelings. Yes, that is important, especially in the world as stressful as it is today. But when I say meditation and when I refer to meditation, I refer to a person moving into their beingness and that very still, quiet, peaceful, calming place where it's a void and you can receive all sorts of magnificent, magnificent things.
That's a really that's a new context for me for sure. I,
Yes, and
you
you're also.
know, so
Mhm.
thank you for sharing that. And like I said before, so I'm going to go back to that, that these teachings are available to those who are interested in what it looks like to be in the void. And I said, yes, I'm also practicing that as well. And um, I find myself not struggling, it's challenging to be in the void without something going on. But if you are interested, for those of you who are listening, it is available through our Wellness Seekers membership. It's a program called Design Your Life. And once you become a member, you have, greater access to that work. And the work is intense, just to let you know. It's not like, you're going to listen to 3 teachings and you're done. It's a 2-year program. And it requires obviously discipline. Yes, meditation, everyone, does require discipline, just like
Yes,
everything
it does.
else.
Yes, it does.
It requires life is, I've said this before, I'll keep saying it. Life is a practice. Everything we do is a practice, practicing to connect to our spirit team. And we're specifically talking, I'm going to bring it back, specifically talking about connecting
Yeah.
to the archangels and knowing now that you've explained kind of, the responsibilities each archangel has, where you can kind of go and connect if you're in that space. And what I'm hearing also in your talking today is the clearer we are, the more quiet we are, the more in the void we are, the clearer and easier it is to connect to those messages that are waiting, to understand the support, um, but also to know that they're always there at any
They're
time.
always there. Yes, yes. And we receive them when we're ready to receive them. They may be, have trying to give us messages for hours, minutes, weeks, decades,
I was going to say years,
decades,
maybe
but when,
even lifetimes. Who knows?
maybe even lifetimes. But when we're ready to receive, then we receive them because they are always there and they're always ready to answer whatever questions you have, whatever you're uncertain about, um, whatever it is that's significant for you. And I want to share this, and then we can go into you asking some questions. um, there is a purpose for each and every one of us, very specifically, very
Mhm.
distinctly, whatever that is. And they will guide you along your path to ensure that you complete your purpose, even if you don't know what that is. But if you do start to receive, hey, wake up, or anything of that nature, just stop and pay attention. If you hear your name called,
Mhm.
what? Pay attention. And those are the times when they're trying to really get something across to you very, very strongly. And I've had a lot of those moments because I've been in resistance, as I've spoken about before. And there's a lot of work that they have charged me with doing energetically in various ways for the planet. And so even if I'm in a dead sleep, it's like, wake up. I'm like, you're not in a physical body. I'm tired. I need some sleep. And they're like, too bad for you. Wake up. you know. And And then there are other times when I'm just like, listen, really, don't bother me right now. I'm tired. Okay, we'll get somebody else, but you better be ready when we get when we come again and ask you. It's like, yeah, okay. So, these are the times to pay attention and they will guide you and lead you. Miracles, Ultimate Wellness Resources is not mine. It is
Mm-hmm.
what they have guided me to do step by step by step by step for humanity. And that's what I do. I just follow it. I just follow what they share, what they want, how they want it to come about. And they give me a little wiggle room, to also just kind of get it clear and all of that. But they're the ones driving the ship. So just so everyone knows, this isn't about me coming up with something that I felt, needed to happen. They're the ones who said, this is what you're here to do, so get on it. And I was kind of lagging a little bit until they started screaming louder and louder. And finally, okay, let me do a little something. And that little something is growing and it's still growing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's growing and it's so exciting. And, you know, it's an interesting journey.
Mhm.
And, for our listeners are people from all different walks of life, and they're somewhere different on their journey. There are some of us who are brand new. There are some of us who are in the middle. I say I'm in the middle somewhere. And then there's us who
All of
are
them somewhere.
yeah, right, somewhere in the middle. And then there's, higher and higher and higher levels of connection and consciousness. And from, everything that you've said today, we could start with just opening up a conversation
Mhm.
because they're always around. So if you were to talk to someone who's beginning, what would be the first thing? I know you said meditation. Um, Alongside that, what else would you recommend that someone begin to practice or do that would help them connect?
So a couple of things come to mind. One is the breath. That's also a standard. To me, there's a foundation. You can't build a
Mm-hmm.
house unless you have a solid foundation.
Okay.
Meditation and breathing. And yes, I know everyone, you're alive, so that means you're breathing. But there is a way to actually breathe correctly so that you're able to have a full experience of what I call the manna of life, because the breath is life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, that being said, besides those two things, another way that people can connect with their angels or their spirit guides um, is to ask a question, write the question down, as you said, automatic writing, and then write the answer that comes to your mind. It doesn't even have to make sense to you in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter at all, at all.
And
Okay.
you will be surprised. You will be surprised. I promise
Yes,
you, you'll be
what
surprised.
comes up. And as you continue to ask and then to write, you'll discover over time that it may not just be like one voice or one way you're writing, that it's well, I those aren't words I usually use. Oh, I would never think of something that way. That's wow, okay, that's different. And I'm getting, like there's an accent or a little, twang on it or something. But, even though you're writing the answers, and that's where that there are different deities and guides and angels that are working
Mm-hmm.
with you that are coming through. Now, I just heard another question from all of you. But what if it's an entity or a guide or something that's not nice,
Mm-hmm.
that can be really bad and trying to steer you down the wrong track? How would I know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very simple. Two things. One is it's important for you to trust yourself.
Mm.
In trusting yourself, you will know if what you're receiving in terms of that answer is something that is true for you or is a direction that you choose to go in at that point in time. If it's not, then you don't follow it. You acknowledge it, give thanks for whatever the answer is, but you don't follow it. And that's the best way for you to begin that process.
Mm.
Because the truth is, sometimes our guides do ask us to do things that are like, no, no. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I'm not the one. You better go talk to Sylvia over there. Have a conversation with Joe because I'm not doing that. And that's okay. Don't follow it. Trust yourself at that time. But as you continue to do that exercise and as you continue to grow, you really will begin to discern. And it comes from your heart.
Mm.
That's what you have to trust. It comes from your heart, not your head, because your head can tell you all kinds of crazy things that aren't even whatever. But your heart knows. Your heart knows.
Yes,
So
the
trust.
head sometimes tries to say all kinds of stuff that's not good.
Oh, yeah. The head wants you to go, yeah. And so trust your heart.
Mm.
Trust your heart. And that's what I mean by trust yourself.
I was going to say that the trust yourself, and it's something that I know you and I have talked about for just even for me personally, that
Mhm.
things that, all the healing that I've done a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. And there's these little things that still get left over. And for me, trust is one of them. And
Mhm.
that's, and I know why it's there. I get why it's there. It's so logical.
Mhm.
So I think my question would be, because there's a lot of us who have these things called like imposter syndrome or lack of faith in self, or,
Mhm.
like, am I really the one that's supposed to be doing that? Well, I don't want to do that. That's too scary, or whatever it is. Or can you really do that? Or, and you and I've had personal conversations. What would you say? Maybe this is a channeled question to ask the team, because really, how do we begin to trust ourselves? How do we begin to trust our own voices? Not meaning like to distinguish between our spirit team and our voice, but actually just trust the voice that we have.
Go back to as far as you can remember when you were a child. Maybe you remember when you were 3 years old, maybe as far back as 4 or 5. There is a, a more purity and innocence at those young ages before we became polluted with the world's viewpoint of how we should be and the way we needed to fit in. And as you consider and go back to even envision yourself in that cute little pink dress on Easter, and what were you doing? How did you feel? Where were you at that time? And when you do, then you can consider or put a characteristic to it. And this is also where writing can come into play.
Mm.
What were the characteristics when you were so young, and you go all the way back? And one of my characteristics was I was real quiet. I didn't talk much at all. I just wanted to just be and hang out. I was the fly on the wall, watching, learning, and so forth. Not doing, but watching and learning, understanding, and receiving from my angels. That's what I did as a little girl. I remember 5 years old.
Mm.
I actually remember an incident when I was less than a year old, but it's still the same kind of essence. I know that as much as I talk, and with all the things that I do, and the craziness that I go into with my emotions and everything else, who I am is still that very quiet, observing, listening, learning, growing, and following my angel's guidance. That's my essence. Those are my characteristics. And the desire to make everyone feel great and heal and be happy, that is my truest core. So that's how I know who I am. And in asking the questions and connecting with my angels, that's what I can trust, is that piece of me, that real me that's there. And everything else that says, well, you ought to do this, and what they did, oh, that's crazy. And this and that, the personality stuff, that's where you don't trust your personality, you trust you. Now,
Mm.
personality, what does that mean? Hey girl, what's up? How you doing? La 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 la. Oh yeah, ooh, I would have been pissed off about that too. I don't understand. La 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 la. That's all of that is just personality. It's the act on your
Mhm.
stage, right, of your life in scene 42. Or whatever it is. But that's not really you. So I say, I suggest start with envisioning and take your deep breaths from your belly, inhale, and then exhale and push the air out, as much air as you can, and then inhale again from the belly all the way up through the lungs to the top of the head, and down, coming down this way and out the belly, pushing the belly in, pushing the breath out. And as you're doing that, envision, how was I as a child? Was I someone who always wanted to be on the go, be on the move? Was I a child who, even when I didn't understand, I wanted to protect? Was I a child who loved music and the beauty and the grace and the loveliness of that? Whatever it is, just connect as much as you can with your essence. Then you will start to know who you are. So when you receive those messages with automatic writing and in meditation and in other ways, you'll know whether it's you or it's your angels. And you'll know and you'll trust at that point where you need to go from there.
With that, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, angels. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, everyone who is in the conversation with us. You've left me with myself with a lot to, I'm going to say process, but as you were talking about like what my essence is, my essence is get shit done. I know I said the S word, but I get
So as the little girl, when you were 4 years old, you're like, get it done, Nina, get it done. I don't
let's go. No, it was more like,
but it
it was
was
like,
more,
oh, I have an idea. Let's make it happen.
let's make it happen.
Let's
Okay.
make it happen.
See?
Like, oh, I want to play this. I want to be, let's play doctor. Okay, let's go find the people. You do this, you do that, you do this. I was always someone who was like, you do this, you do that, you do this. I'm going to do this. Okay, let's go.
Mhm.
And
So
I realized that I'm the happiest when that's kind of where I'm at.
your organizer.
I guess so.
That is all the moving, the bringing things together. I have an idea on how, this can come about and what would be fun. It's the organizer that comes in that says, yeah, let's organize this and make it happen.
And I'm laughing because, you know, I remember when you asked me, so what is it that you really love doing? I'm like, operations. I like
Mhm.
just making things happen and coming together. Yes. So I was getting a little emotional when we walked through that process. I'm like, oh, there she is. But
Mhm.
that's who I've always been. And there, somehow I didn't believe that's who I was.
Of course not, because we've all been told and taught and shown and demonstrated that we needed to be other ways in order to be accepted, loved, fit in, be part of society, so on and so forth.
Yeah, perhaps. But with that, like I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Listen, if you liked this conversation, please comment, please share. Let us know how you feel about it. If you're interested in membership and the benefits and becoming part of our Wellness Seekers community, then please come onto our website. It's currently miraclesdirectory.com, www.miracles with an S directory.com. It's the easiest way. Look for membership in the little you can't see me unless you're looking and you're watching on YouTube. At the top where the menu is, you'll see membership. Click on membership. Join us. We want to see you. We want to engage with you. And you don't have to do this alone. Just like we have a spirit team, every single one of us, we're not alone. Us human beings need to come together and experience and have
Yes,
these conversations so that we can begin to grow and expand and live out our true essence and our
that's
purpose.
true. And community is everything. I also want to share that coming very soon, I will spill the beans now.
Okay.
Coming very soon, actually next month, once a month, I will be channeling the angels, providing messages to everyone about current events and things of that nature. But even more important is if you have a question that you would like the angels to answer, you can write your question down in the chat room when we're doing this live, or you may ask it through the Miracles Directory um, forum that we will have put together for you to ask your question, and we'll have that read and then answered by the angels. So it can be a general question that you may have, or it can be real upfront and personal. Whatever you want to know, the angels will be there to answer during that channeling time.
Thank you. And we're so excited to bring this to everybody. I think the world is always up and down, just like life. And we're in a little bit of a place where people are looking for answers, and the angels are there to assist us and help us along. And it's wonderful that you're doing that. And thank you, angels. Thank you,
Yes,
angels,
thank
for
the angels.
for stepping into this conversation with us at Miracles Ultimate Wellness Resources. We are so honored and we're so blessed. And with that, until next time, everyone, bye for now. Thank you for joining us today on Healers Talk Healing. We hope you've been inspired and empowered on your holistic healing journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode and want to continue learning and growing with us, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, and review our podcast. Your feedback and support mean the world to us. Remember, healing is a lifelong journey, and you have the power to transform your life in profound ways. Stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop believing in your own capacity for healing.